Okay dudes, so how does everything we covered on drive leg mechanics this far within the ebook, how does this pertain to one of the biggest highlights of what I'm trying to discuss in the ebook in regards to accelerators and drivers and the personal identification system that I referred to in the beginning? How does it pertain to it? So I think you can get a pretty good understanding for the goals of each. Now, I would say within the drive leg mechanics, just basically looking at the drive leg mechanics as a whole and understanding all of the concepts in regards to the goals that we're trying to establish within the drive leg, the goals of the loading patterns that we're trying to establish, and how does all of that pertain to, hey, well, I'm an accelerator, does this all apply to me? Or hey, I'm a driver. Let's put it simply, okay? If you're a driver, then yes, 100% we need to optimize our drive leg mechanics, because why? When we look at velocity and force times acceleration, we're overemphasizing force, okay? And that's ground force production, right? We're overemphasizing that, and we're gonna probably underemphasize the acceleration aspect of it. So we wanna make dang sure that we're making our drive leg mechanics and the force production as optimal as possible. Now, what is my encouragement for those who would say, oh, I'm a 6'5", 18-year-old, 225, 230, that doesn't move all that quick? Then yeah, dude, we want to make sure that the drive leg mechanics is one of our biggest pieces to our optimization of our deliveries puzzle, okay? So within that, my recommendation for those guys is master the hip hinge, master the loading pattern. Why? Because if we're going to be stabilizing a lot of potential energy from peak leg lift, our glutes are better equipped to stabilize that. Our hip hinge pattern, the benefits of the hip hinge pattern will far outweigh a quad dominant loading pattern. Now, again, I want to reiterate, does that mean if you're a driver and you're shooting for a driver and you cannot master the hip hinge load, do you just bang it and go to accelerator? Not necessarily. Because like I said, you can still load up the quad dominant package. We saw within like Charlie Morton, Nathan Evaldi, those guys are quad dominant loaders, and they can still get away with producing 95 plus, and more oftentimes than not, you'll see, not more oftentimes, but you'll see even some quad loaders like a Tayron Guerrero who throws 100 loads in the quad, okay? We just want to make sure that we're hammering the lowest hanging fruit. And if that's somebody that's trying to be a driver, they're loading quad dominant, and you're seeing all of these breakdowns, you're seeing this instability, you're seeing a collapse, you're seeing a very leakage of the lower body mechanics due to the quad, then yes, we need to kind of reorganize some patterns, okay? Now, how does this pertain to an accelerator? If you look at a guy like Zach Plyo, you know, the way that he accomplishes his delivery is in my personal opinion, he's not putting a whole lot of emphasis on the way that he loads up his drive leg. He's not really focused on a hip hinge pattern, holding, storing energy, heading the center and going. He's focused on getting his body accelerated as quickly as he can into his anchor point to really overemphasize acceleration. Again, simplify it. Force times acceleration equals velocity. You need to do one of those extremely well, or you need to do both of them pretty well, okay? So my advice to accelerators is you want to spend your development time elsewhere, right? Like, yes, we obviously don't want to totally disregard the drive leg mechanics, because I do see a lot of times a case where someone's trying to accelerate and they're trying to accelerate within their initial move, and then their body gets way far out ahead, they leak a ton of drive leg energy, and then their arm is disconnected because they've so focused on accelerating that maybe now we need to take a step back and say, okay, I know we're trying to accelerate into our front foot strike, but we're doing that to sacrifice a lot of potential energy that we're leaking. So then we need to kind of go back to the drawing board and see what you know, our lowest hanging fruit is there as well. But to put it all simply, guys, how drive leg mechanics pertains to accelerators and drivers and the personal identification system, it's going to be on you guys. Okay, and that's my biggest encouragement within this whole entire ebook, is for you guys to get an understanding of the way you move, what you're limited to, what you do really well, and how can all of that be best portrayed into your pitching mechanics to get the best result back. All right, but just to reiterate, for the drivers, our drive leg mechanics are one of the most crucial pieces, because they're going to set us up for a very successful delivery. For accelerators, you just want to look at your flaws and kind of where those flaws are lying, and see if the drive leg kind of maybe can assist in other optimal movement patterns going forward. Okay, so hopefully that part made sense, and we'll just keep on. We'll go with the 9. Wait, let's load this up differently. Here we go. Let's go here, closed off. hip internal rotation, trunk counter rotation, lift. Just sailed it.